We've got Chris on technical, Neil on insight, and Steve in the driving seat. It's Talking Formula One.
Hello and welcome to Talking Formula One, and F1 in 2026 is back. Doesn't seem like it's actually been gone for that long, Chris. Do you feel the same?
No, well, yeah, it's been gone too long for my liking.
Yeah. I mean, any off-season is too long of an off-season, but yeah, it only finished in December, and now we're looking ahead to the next race already, which is back this weekend, and I am very, very excited. Are you looking forward to the new season, or are you one of those ones that's a little bit, I don't know, unsure, a little bit cautious about it?
No, always look forward to every race. Doesn't matter what it is. So can't wait to get up at stupid o'clock to watch it and annoy everybody in my house.
Absolutely. There'll be we'll be up watching that one. I can't wait. It's I love the early seasons. As much fun as I find, sitting down on a summer's afternoon with a cold beer watching the European season, I do like the early starts. I like the feeling of getting up at sort of 5 a.m. with a coffee, sitting down watching the Grand Prix very quietly because I have a sleeping toddler upstairs. But
I can guarantee I'll watch it. That's the thing, because you can't. No one else can plan things. They're going to plan things at 6 o'clock in the morning, aren't they? So I know I'm going to definitely get to watch them.
Yeah, that's the thing, in summertime. Oh, you're doing anything this weekend? Come round, we've got a barbecue. Formula One, sorry. That was got a barbecue at 4 a.m. in March, unless you're mad. You never know. But there we go. I can't wait for it. We've had pre-season testing. There's been a lot of questions, who's got work to do. One team springs to mind, who looks like they're going to hit the ground running. Again, another team springs to mind. But we haven't done a show for a couple of weeks. So obviously we've had pre-season testing. What are your thoughts after that? Sort of anyone really standing out so far?
I think it's pretty much as we were last year, I think, which is quite surprising. I think the 4 big teams are the 4 that are going to be at the front. They're all pointing fingers at each other, saying that they're not the quickest, and this one is, that one is. But I think they'll all qualifying will be interesting, because obviously it's all about the deployment, who can get over lap. I think the Red Bull might be the best over a single lap to do that. But obviously Albert Park, we don't know what these new regulations are going to bring with racing, the push to pass and all that gubbins. They're talking about reducing the battery already, which automatically tells me that they've gone too far with the regulations too quickly. But so if they do, I think they'll give Melbourne probably a tester and see if they might peel it back for what's the next one after Melbourne?
Japan?
Is it Japan? No, it's not Japan, is it? No, it's not Japan.
China.
China. It's China.
A really early one.
It's China. I'm pretty sure it's China. So I'm trying to get confused, because obviously you got the upheaval in the Middle East. So you don't know if Bahrain or Saudi are actually going to go ahead, or whether they're going to have a couple of European races just wedged in there. Which I don't think old Imola will be too warm.
No.
Mark.
Malaysia.
Yeah, apparently Malaysia can't, because I can't remember what I read, but Malaysia can't do it, I think. But anyway, but I think the status quo, especially for the first couple of races, there's a fight at the back for who's the slowest. But actually, there's one team that are going to be the slowest, because they're only going there to retire, which is a long way. It's a long way to go just to retire.
You know what's good? They're gonna. I don't know if you remember back in 97? You had the Mastercard Lola team that turned up for one race. They were about 12 seconds off the pace, so didn't qualify, never raced, and then never showed up again. I think they went to Brazil the next race, never left the garage, packed up, and went home.
Yeah, it's the first time since the Super Aguri days or the HRT days where they're talking about the 107% rule, or they just want to get in that, and then they're happy. I mean,
things are bad if you're not even trusting the 107% rule. That is,
they're already packaging this Honda as an absolute donkey like they did 10 years ago. It came good in the end, but I I don't know if it's
Fernando
all
doesn't have
Honda.
the same time, does he, that Max Verstappen has?
No, he doesn't. And poor old Fernando. They get Adrian Newey in the door. You think, oh, it's going to be an absolute rocket ship. And then the GP2 engine turns up again.
He must be thinking, what the hell? I've finally got my hands, after so many years, on an Adrian Newey designed car. It's going to have a Honda in the back, which won so many championships with Red Bull.
Didn't Newey leave? Didn't Newey leave when he went to McLaren? I think he did. Because I think the 2006 McLaren, is it 2006 McLaren was his last one?
I think it was. It's 05 or 06?
Yeah, and then 2007 was when, obviously, Fernando... It was 06, 05, 07. No, 06 that Fernando went in there.
So,
but...
this Aston... I mean, the 05 McLaren was incredible. One of the prettiest F1 cars of all time. But also incredibly unreliable. You know, Kimi could have had a really good shot at that World Championship had it not been for that McLaren. So could it be a case of either this this Aston is going to be like that McLaren, where it's going to be lightning quick on its day, but also the engine's made of biscuits, or is it going to be like the 2012 HRT, which just turns up, fails to qualify, and looks terrible every weekend? I think that's where I'm leaning.
No one actually knows, because they can't run the engine to anywhere near what it needs to be to get actually a proper correlation of what the aero's doing.
This is a really confusing thing, isn't it? Because that Honda engine could genuinely be good, and it could. The Aston itself, with all of its technical bits and pieces and the Adrian Newey masterclass, but the Viking horns and everything, could be a really good package. But we don't know, because they did, was it 6 laps on the last day and then packed up and went home?
Yeah, they don't have enough battery parts. They don't have enough battery parts or something like that. And it's the engine, just they can't run it anywhere near to full potential. Even like talk a sandbagging doesn't even come into the question for them, because they can't even get halfway there.
No. Were you sandbagging? No, we genuinely were going full pace. Nah, come
on. They can't tell what the correlation is. They don't actually know what the full aerodynamic package can do, because they can't run it at full. You know, they're having to run it at 4 seconds a lap off the pace just to get around. And now they're going to go all the way to Melbourne to qualify and run a couple of laps of testing, which is effectively what they're going to do. Have a shakedown, effectively. And but Honda sort of like leaning towards it's, you know, they started late, you know, back foot, but you can't. It's not really an excuse, really, because, you know, Audi have brought out you know, looks like for a first stab at the engine, looks okay, doesn't it? It looks like there's potential there.
Yeah,
obviously, Red Bull have obviously taken a lot of Mercedes people, but that's, you know, could be class of the field in terms of the engine. So there's no real excuses.
The frustrating thing for Aston is that the first half of the season is going to affect, like I imagine, is effectively going to be a test, isn't it? It's going to be improvements, upgrades, refining. And we've said it before. I mean, Fernando doesn't have that kind of time now, but he did say that if the car was not competitive, he'd hang around a bit longer. If it was, he might then consider.
Well, he's got
you'd think, right, he's won a couple.
He's got the golden. Yeah, he's got the golden bullet on his contract, doesn't he? He signed up for it's a multi-year contract. I think after the end of this year, he decides whether it turns. You know, it's 3 years extra. I think this year, he decides if it turns into a ambassadorial role, which is kind of what it is, and he decides if he can actually. No, I want to carry on racing. It's up to him. He's got the power in his hands. So if he knows a car's coming, if he can see a car coming, the engine's, you know, he probably might just use this year to, you know, float around again like he has done for the last 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, what was the last time Fernando was genuinely competitive throughout the season? It must have been sort of like 2012 in the Ferrari, because 13 they weren't brilliant, were they? In 2014, the Ferrari was a dog.
Valencia was 2013, wasn't it, or 2012?
Which one was it?
Was it Valencia was his last race he won, wasn't it? I think
2013.
2013, and even that year, that car wasn't
gone half his career without winning a race, which is incredible.
I don't think since 2010. Since 2010, I don't think he's had a dominant car. You know, that 2010 championship he should have won.
Oh, for sure. Thank you, Vitaly Petrov. Pre-GTS fans will know that. The 2012 one, that car was an absolute dog. Felipe Massa made it look like he was driving a skip lorry, but somehow Fernando got it to championship contention, and it went down. Did it go out to the final round? It did, didn't it, with Vettel?
I think so. Yeah, it was just consistency when he was always just putting it like on the podium, fourth, fifth, every week. Pretty much what Max did last year.
Yeah, and that was the last time we had a good stat. But you know what's going to happen with Fernando, though, don't you? Yeah, it's like he'll think, right, I've had 2 years of driving a terrible car. I'll call it a day because I'm getting on. I'm not going to win. I'll go to the ambassadorial role. And then the following season, it's a 1-2. Lance Stroll leads them home. Boom. Championship contention. Fernando's going to be thinking, what the hell? Actually, I want to activate a clause in my contract that means I step back into the car. Thank you.
It was a little thing of me when they signed Button up for that ambassadorial role for Aston Martin. Whether that was Fernando's, I'm not going to do this role next year, so you can get someone else in. Don't know, but I don't know how much. That's a bit of a shocker of one for Jenson Button to go into, isn't it? Being an ambassador for an absolute car horse.
He was at Williams until recently, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's done a lot for Williams, but well, he wants to be still in this. At least he be on the old TV once in a while, won't he, I think. Sky Sports.
I always look forward to seeing JB on Sky Sports.
There's the good news. The good news, there's no Danica Patrick this year.
Oh, I saw that earlier.
You just got to get rid of the Miami Grand Prix with it, and then we're all right. But
the worst thing is we're not going to see Jensen's reactions to some of the daft stuff that I think that it's certainly nailed on to who is going to be the slowest team, which when you're coming up against when you're a team as experienced as Aston Martin and you've got Fernando Alonso, you've got Adrian Newey, you've got what until recently was a really dominant Honda, you've got state-of-the-art facilities, and you're coming up against a brand new team in Cadillac.
Brand new wind tunnel, isn't it? Brand new wind tunnel, brand new wind tunnel factory.
Millions of pounds invested, and you're coming up against a brand new team in Cadillac with two drivers who have always been solid, if not spectacular. And Audi, who are basically obviously taken over a team, but they've got their new engine for the first season, and people think that those two teams are going to outpace you. That's embarrassing for a team with.
I don't think Aston Martin will be anywhere near. Yeah, Aston Martin will be nowhere near Audi, I don't think. I think they'll be miles behind.
Audi look all right, and they've got two good drivers, Nico and Gabriel Bortoletti. I rate them. So I think it's fairly nailed on for who's going to be finishing at the back, but the front teams is a genuine mystery, I think, because there's, I don't know. I mean, we've seen teams be quick over one lap pace. Charles Leclerc did the quickest lap of the test, so Ferrari fans are on cloud nine.
I don't always think testing is quite an accurate. They always go, "Oh, this is the favourite." Apart from obviously Max for 3, but that first season, 2022, Max wasn't the favourite. I think it was. I think it was Charles Leclerc. Obviously, Ferrari come out, but they were only quick for half a season. Obviously, then Max 2 years later. But I think we're in for an interesting one on Sunday.
I can't wait. I think, obviously a lot of good talk is being spoken of Mercedes. A lot of people putting George Russell as their tip champion.
I think that's just because, I don't think qualifying is, qualifying is going to be very different this year. It's not going to be all the point and squirt. There's a lot more than just getting the tyres in the window. There's all the battery deployment that's got to be done now. So it's going to be interesting. The usual quick qualifiers like Leclerc, Russell, Lando, I think might throw up a few things. Yeah.
There's a lot of management to come to it as well. The top 4 teams, I think it's pretty nailed on. It's going to be Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren in some order. Ferrari seem pretty confident. The car does look good. I think Lewis Hamilton is starting to look a lot more comfortable in it.
Everybody keeps pointing to Ferrari. I don't know if that's the old will point away from us, but they are saying that Ferrari does looks the most innovative as well, doesn't it? I think they're the only ones that have shown their hand to try different things. Obviously, with the rear wing, they've got the little extra wing on the exhaust above the rain light, whereas no one else has shown anything. Maybe they haven't got anything. That's the thing. Maybe they've all been so ingrained obviously McLaren with a long battle, Red Bull with a long battle last season. Mercedes have been all in on the engine. They probably have got a few things, but Ferrari have literally did start this time last year on this car.
Yeah. 2025 was basically.
It's always been a critic, like a criticism of Ferrari, is they've always been safe.
Yeah.
They've never really come out with anything like daring. If you think back, when was the last time they did anything that was out of the ordinary? They always copy.
I think the last time that Ferrari did something where I thought, that's new, because you had the Mercedes with the zero side pod thing. Red Bull over the years have had loads of different things. I think it would have been that sort of like the bathtub side pods they did back in 22, was it?
The scallop. They kept them a scallop, didn't they?
Yeah.
But they turned out to be restrictive because they couldn't develop further from there, did they? They all went into the Red Bull, quite a big undercut slope, and McLaren did the F duct, and obviously the ball wings, the Dumbo wing, and things like that. You see, but Ferrari just never really done anything innovative. And then they brought out this reverse wing that, in theory, if you can get it passed and legalised, it probably is going to be worthwhile. Probably a tenth, I'd say, but tenth's massive in F1.
Where did that come from? Because over the years you think, bloody hell, Red Bull have done this, or McLaren, or like Audi now have done the zero side pod type thing as well. Mercedes turning up with their very strange looking car back in 22. But Ferrari's like, okay, they just followed the trend really, but suddenly they've come up with a wing that flips itself. And I'll tell you what, I can't remember where I put Ferrari in my livery rankings, but it's growing on me. Apart from the blue HP logo, I do quite like it.
But I keep seeing this. I've actually noticed recently, that the blue HP is more. They don't alter the HP for different teams now. It is blue HP. Majority of places you go, unless it's really stupid. Like I think I saw as a gold and black kit. It was good. You stick a blue HP on there, it looks stupid. But I think HP is blue. But anyway, by the by, it's going to annoy us to see.
It is. The only car I've seen actually where the HP logo looks good on it was the BMW Williams from the early noughties, because they were blue and white.
That just literally slotted into the scheme, isn't it?
Yeah, BMW.
That's why they should have sponsored Williams.
Yeah, go back to Williams. They were pretty cars back in the day, those BMW Williams. That's what made me fall in love with them. But yeah, so the top four teams in any particular order, I think McLaren are being sort of a little bit slept on. Everyone's talking about Red Bull, the Ford, and Mercedes. But McLaren,
I think they're hiding something, McLaren.
Yeah, they've quietly gone about their business. They've been looking solid. They're pretty reliable. Any car with an orange and black colour scheme is a win for me. But they've been quietly getting on with their business. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are certainly very, very competitive in Australia. Apart from Piastri, because everyone knows that no Australian can ever do well at the Australian Grand Prix.
No.
It's just law of Formula. Apart from when Webber finished 5th in a Minardi, that's it. No one else can ever do well. Congratulations. Where are you from? Australia? Well, you're not on the podium, mate. That's fine.
What's the old weather like this week? I don't know what the weather's like. Hopefully we get a little bit of wet weather will be lovely with all these new rules.
Oh, that makes it up. So with the order, obviously slowest.
No, cloudy.
No, all dry. The top four, take those four teams and put them in any order. The midfield this year is going to be so close.
It's going to be like it was last year, I think, because the rate of development is going to be so high across the board that, one weekend an Alpine can bring a rear wing upgrade and be a couple of tenths quicker. And then Williams can bring another one and they'll go ahead. It's going to be mental.
Yeah, I think the team that's going to be slightly cut off from it is going to be Cadillac. I don't think they're going to be quite there.
I think it's all about building a foundation, isn't it? I think this year it's all about just getting through and building the team. If they can get out of Q1 at some point in the season, I think.
But the midfield this year, you're going to have teams like RB, Alpine are going to be right in the mix, particularly I think with Gasly. He looked quite good in that. Now they've got Mercedes power. Williams, if they've managed to shave enough weight off the car, and if they can get it together.
If the drivers employed jockeys.
I tell you what, I am so pissed off with Williams. I mean, I love that team through and through. I will follow them till the day I die. But this is the year I was bigging them up. And I was saying last year they were going to get a podium. They got 2. This year they're going to get a win, and then they miss the first test altogether, and they show up to Bahrain in a car that is overweight and clearly lagging behind the likes of Alpine and Haas. Really, Alpine were a wheelie bin last year, mainly because of the Renault engine.
I just find it interesting. Something's gone wrong.
Well, Vowles has admitted they're on the back foot. So, dude, when you took over, you said we don't care about 24, we don't care about 25. 26.
They've been designing that car for so long.
Yeah.
There is no excuse to be on the back foot. I can understand if maybe they run out of front wings or something on the test, they had to cut the shafts and didn't bring enough, that's fine. But to not have a car that's ready when all you've done for 2 years is say we only concentrate on 2026. Unless they lied to themselves and they went back in and developed the car a little bit more last season because they were in a position where they were going to finish 5th in the championships.
Yeah, they thought, well, actually, we need to push this a little bit more than we planned to.
And has that caused them a bit of an issue? I do wonder if that's the case, but still, there's absolutely no excuses whatsoever.
I don't expect it to be like 2019. The car showed up late and it was overweight and slow and it had bits on it that were illegal and they were at the back of the grid all the season. That's not going to happen. But for them to be saying for years 2026 is our focus, and then they still fumble it, unless it is to do with them maybe turning a bit more focus back to 25.
They haven't come in and gone, we've broken down a few times or we've had a bit of technical issues. They didn't even come to the first test.
No, that's the problem. They were just running it on a simulation. And when they showed up to Bahrain, there were no stoppages. The car did look reliable. It looks well put together, but it just didn't look quick.
Well, that's because we know the Mercedes engine is reliable in terms of where the stages they are. But it's not everything. Yeah, it's just it's gone back to that mentality of what they were before Vowles come in. A bit of also rounds and laughing stops maybe, but there's enough money in there now not to be like that.
I think the 2 teams that people were expecting big things from this year have let people down, because the 2 teams, speaking to other people, the people were looking forward to seeing was Aston Martin and Williams, because if Williams can do that well and finish 5th when they weren't really focusing on that, that's fantastic. And Aston, you've got Newey, Honda, Alonso. Aston looked like a GP2 car, and Williams are just...
They won't even get in the GP2 series. I think the F2 series.
Williams are enormous. It's like, so what the hell?
Yeah, they're both... I'd be surprised what Aston Martin do, though. Williams, I think Williams have got the first 6 races are quite key, because I think if things don't go right, then heads are going to have to roll. Yeah. I'm not sure much of that James Vowles, because obviously he's done a lot of good since he's come in. But there's going to be some heads, and Aston Martin is well. Andy Cowell looks like he's on the way out already. How long does Lawrence Stroll keep pumping the money in? If it's this is the do or die. He's putting a lot of money on every facet, and he's come out with less than nothing. Yeah,
he's gone backwards. 3 years ago, Alonso was finishing on the podium in nearly every race in the first part of the season.
He was second quickest car.
Yeah. He finished 3rd, 4th in the championship that year.
Yeah. That was because of the first half of the season as well.
Yeah, it was the 1-2. It was Perez and Verstappen. In the other order, let's face it, was Verstappen and Perez. And Fernando, he was always 2nd or 3rd, wasn't he? And he could have won Monaco. He should have won Monaco. Oh, that was 3 years ago now. And they've gone backwards. But the midfield battle this year is going to be incredible, because you've got Alpine, you've got Haas, who I think are slightly edging it. Behrman looks really good. Ocon.
One thing Haas is you can outdevelop Haas as a.
Oh, for
I know
sure.
now they've got Toyota. They got Toyota's money sort of helping along what they are, but they are still very much I'll probably say actually still the lowest budget in F1.
Yeah.
Cadillac
is going to be huge.
got GM backing, haven't they? So, so they've probably got the lowest budget still. So they're not going to develop at a rate of knots like Aston Martin can if they get it right. So, but I think Haas probably they'll do what they did last year. They'll pop in a few races here and there where they'll be the best of the rest.
Alpine, Haas, Williams will be in that pack, but they won't be.
Alpine look okay. They don't look like the bastard race they were last year. They look like they got a solid enough car. I don't think they'll go too far with it. They got the engine. They obviously. This is the thing, you see. Did Aston Martin know where they were going with Honda with this engine, or were they sold down the river a little bit? Because Alpine knew that their engine was a bag of biscuits and a bag of spanners, and Brits already pulled that plug very early.
Yeah. How strange is it that what's the Renault Works team has now gone to Mercedes? So weird. Yeah. So there's a lot of talk and a lot of cautious optimism ahead of this new season. I mean, to be fair, Aston could have played an absolute blinder and they could turn up and rock up on the podium. I doubt it. Williams could suddenly turn up and realise they've made a car that's half the weight and they've turned the Mercedes up and boom, it's a Carlos Sainz win. But again, I doubt it.
There's absolutely no chance in the world that Aston Martin even finishing the race.
I think, they'll start it. They'll get within the 107 because they'll be allowed to turn that engine up for a couple of laps. And then they'll start the race. They'll be out in Q1. They'll start the race. They won't finish.
They may even that first qualifying session might be the best data they've collected so far because that engine will be run at a higher threshold than it has the whole pre-season, just because it only has to take 1 or 2 laps, and they actually might have a gauge on what the car's like.
Well, we've got just over a minute, so in the last minute, give me a bold prediction for your 2026 season, because we'll revisit this at the end. We'll get one from Neil as well whenever he's on the show.
I got 2. Am I allowed to do 2?
You can do 2.
Okay. I don't think it's much of
and we'll revisit at the end of the season.
I don't think it's much of a bold prediction, but I'll go for the mildly bold one, which is I think Hamilton will beat Leclerc.
Okay.
Season. And my second bold prediction is Ollie Behrman to get podium.
Interesting. Okay. All right. We'll revisit.
It's bold enough, really.
Yeah, and we'll give.
I've got a third one. Kimi Antonelli will beat George Russell.
Oh, that's a bold one. Okay. One bold prediction for me is Williams win a race. I said it last season. My bold prediction, one of mine, is that Williams are going to win a race. The second one
in the simulator.
Yeah, with a race in the queue for cups of tea. I don't know. Second one is Fernando Alonso gets a podium, which could be even more unrealistic than Williams winning a race.
Check what you've been drinking.
And the third one, I think it's one you said as well, Hamilton beats Leclerc.
Yeah.
No, I can't use that. We can't have 2 bold.
No, he's got.
Okay,
it's not that bold though, is it? It's only he's a 7-time world champion. If he beats Leclerc, he shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
Okay, I'll write these down. We'll write all these down. Williams win a race. Aston gets a podium with Fernando. And Isaac Hadjar finishes within 40 points of Max Verstappen.
I'll tell you what, a bold prediction would be saying something like Hadjar beats Verstappen. Oh, can you imagine
it? But I thought there's bold and there's just... But within 40 points, considering how much he's whitewashed his teammates in recent years,
yeah.
I'll go with that. So there's the bold predictions. We'll make a note of those. We'll get Neil's from him, and then we'll revisit those at the end of the season as well.
On Hadjar, there's no excuse for him because this isn't a car that's been designed for Max, is it? This isn't. This is a rule set that's mainly been. It's a completely clean car, so he's got this is now or never for Hadjar to get close to Max.
There we go. Big chance for Isaac Hadjar. But there we go. That brings us to the end of our show this week. So thank you very, very much for watching. Obviously, this is the last one before the season does get underway. So if you're up at whatever time it is in the morning, then do enjoy the race. We will see you next week, same time, same place. I think Wednesdays seem to be pretty good days for us. So, this sort of time would be quite handy. So, have a great week. Enjoy the Grand Prix, and we shall see you then. But until then, I have been Steve. He has been Chris. Neil is somewhere in traffic, but we shall see him later. Cheers.